Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, a podcast where we love to hate movies. I am your host, Jay Light. Joining me, a fellow traveler on the road of movie-related podcasts, the host of Fresh Hop Cinema, Max Minardi.
Hello, Jay.
Hello,
I was wondering how you're going
Max.
to tie us together in terms of our connectivity. Yeah, we're both movie people and we both travel.
Yeah, we met doing a performers convention. That's the easiest way to put it.
Sure.
We both met trying to get college kids to consider shilling out some of their school's endowment to hire us to come perform for them. And
and that was all of 10 years ago. No, was that 2 months ago?
after
right?
watching Avatar 2, it felt like it was about 10 years.
The title of your show gives away what I like about the show is that I don't really know what your response is going to be to your guests' opinions of the movie. I clearly don't like Avatar: The Way of Water, but I actually still don't know what you thought, though I thought maybe you slightly tipped your hand there, but maybe you're just objectively saying it's long, which it is.
I'm just saying, I mean, it is long. It's 192
it's
minutes
3
long.
hours and 9 minutes. It's
famously so long that good old James Cameron, the the architect of the Avatar universe, has said that you can go pee whenever you want because you're just going to see the part you missed whenever you see the movie again.
I wish that was
bold.
That's a real quote.
Yeah, that is a real quote.
All right, let me say this then.
Who said that to? I'm going to find it.
I'm mad that this is the case, but so I've seen it twice.
Really?
Yeah, and part of it is that. Well, so when we decided this was going to be the movie we talked about, I thought maybe I should see it again. And then I went home for Christmas and saw my family, and my mom was really pushing for us to see a Christmas movie together. And this is the one. This is like when your grandma's in town. Like this is kind of a safe bet. And I was pushing for Babylon. Have you seen / heard of Babylon?
I have not seen it. I have heard of it. I have a strong desire to see it, and it also does not sound like a family movie.
No, but it's Damien Chazelle who did Whiplash, who did La La Land, and like on paper, it's like Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie and a tale of just pre-Golden Age Hollywood. And I thought this would be a safe bet, but then I ended up seeing it by myself for my podcast, and it is one of the most graphic films I have ever seen. And I come from like a Catholic family from the Midwest, and it's not. It would have been a disaster.
I can imagine a movie that I have heard of basically opening with like an elephant shitting all over a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Not going to be fun for the whole family.
That's the safest part of the movie.
I actually had, this is a total tangent, but I like to go see a movie on Christmas. I have started to slowly rope my family members into doing this tradition with me. Mostly just my sister. My parents are usually too far gone and asleep unless we're watching something in the house.
Sure.
And this year, we had the wholesome experience of watching The Fabelmans together. And I remember every time I go see a movie with my sister on Christmas, I am worried that we will have the same experience that we did when we saw A Girl with the Dragon Tattoo together. And
wait, I don't know your sister's proclivities for film, but what was your experience with her for that movie?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know about proclivities or otherwise, but it is. Maybe I'm alone on this lifeboat here, but it is exceedingly awkward to sit through a big old rape scene while your sister's sitting next to you and just having to, you just got to stare forward.
You just look straight at the screen.
I hope you don't want any popcorn right now because I'm just going to hold on to this as tightly as I can.
And that movie's got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
The Fabelmans is a much better choice.
Yes.
And I did convince. That's the movie I saw, which is my. And now I will tip my hand.
Yeah, please.
The Fabelmans and Avatar 2 were very similar for me in that I did not expect to like them as much as I did.
Okay.
Based on my previous experience with people involved in those movies.
Okay.
I was not an Avatar fan, and I was not I'm not a particularly big Steven Spielberg fan. He's kind of hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
But goddamn, they got me. They both got me.
They both got you. Oh, that's so okay. Well, Okay, I was going to ask you about your experience with the first Avatar. I think that was 2009.
Yeah, 2009.
We are the same age-ish, right? Like I'm 31.
Yeah, I'm 32.
Okay, so like we are end of high school when Avatar comes out.
Yeah.
Ish. And I hadn't seen like a ton of movies at the time. And the cool thing about Avatar OG was like the special effects. It was great. It was there was no actual water in that movie. It was all CGI, which is crazy to me.
Right.
So
and
I
remember
thought
the shooting it in 3D. It was a big deal at the time. That was
Yeah.
like the dawn.
It was
of a
the
new 3D
coolest new.
technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that they put this one out in 3D. It felt very antiquated, but mixed with like they're alternating between like 24 and 48 frames per second. It felt like a weird 3D video game for a lot of it. But I liked the first one. I thought it was cool. And that was about where my feelings ended, my affectionate feelings for Avatar. Like the story is a colonization tale that is pretty simplistic, but it was great for like kids and it was cool to watch as adults.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more in this
That's
one.
basically pretty much what I thought. I came away from the first Avatar feeling, hey, that looked cool. I don't get why people are going gaga over this movie.
Okay. I know this is supposed to be you asking me questions like how do we get into this movie? Because I want to know what was different about The Way of Water for you versus the original.
I mean, that is a tough question. Here's I'm going to ask you a question off of my answer.
Okay.
I think over the years I have come to appreciate the level of like technical mastery in a filmmaking much more than I did when Avatar first came out. And I will also say this, as much as I did be shockingly like Avatar: The Way of Water, it is not a movie that I like in like the sense of the word. You know what I mean?
Okay, it's not a movie that I hate in the sense of the word.
Yeah. Interesting.
We'll get into it. What's your question from your answer?
Well, my question is, I think the big problem that I have with the movie, if I'm nitpicking, which is what this podcast is,
do it.
Really at the end of the day, is what is it for you that keeps you like? You had the power in yourself to go see this movie twice. I could not imagine seeing this movie twice. But I was like, this movie's kind of like a really positive requiem for a dream where I'm like, that was great, and I don't ever want to see it ever again. Like,
okay.
This is how I feel about Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm like, cool, they did Blackfish this time.
Sure.
And great, but man, those Na'vi, they look real cool. Sometimes they look like video game characters.
Yeah.
But I got no desire to watch this again, but like, good job, James Cameron. Well done.
So I saw it the first time. I saw it because for my podcast, we got to stay current. Like, well, we just covered The Whale, which actually is Darren Aronofsky. Speaking of Requiem for a Dream.
Speaking of which.
Amazing, but also the same sort of feeling at the end. Like that was great for what it was. I don't want to watch it again because of the emotions, but you got to see The Whale. But
The Whale is quite good. Yes.
You saw it too.
I did see it.
Awesome. Okay.
I actually liked The Whale less than The Way of Water, which is a hurt me to say, but I will. I can say it. I'm unafraid.
It's less enjoyable, for sure. But so no, I saw Avatar going in to cover it on my show because we got to keep up with that sort of stuff. I didn't have high expectations. I didn't really have low expectations. I figured 13 years between this and the last one. You know, at some point, like James Cameron was putting off finishing this movie because he was like telling the studios, like, my script isn't done. This movie it's like a character-driven, script-driven movie, and the script needs to be perfect. I was getting hyped hearing all that.
And then, I mean, I can imagine the way that you may have read some of the stuff they talk about the technology. Like the technology was literally not up to snuff with what he wanted to create, which is an insane reason. That's like Michelangelo-esque wanting to make something so perfect. This is like we're dealing with like a man who is making art on a level that should not, for what the story actually is, like there should not be this much thought put into the final product.
And I think this is the argument for Avatar, is that you don't try to overcomplicate the story and you just make it a spectacle of technology, which I think this is. But I was just so bummed about it. I was thinking that, like, and now that I know there's 4 films in this, there's one coming out every 2 years for the next 2 years or the next 4 years. I don't like, again, it's 3 hours and 9 minutes. And there's so many of these establishing shots where like you see like Jake Sully and his family of of one-dimensional kids that are barely defined flying over the waters. And there's one of those shots in every scene change, and they last for like a minute. They're just all these establishing shots, and it's so awesome. Pandora is beautiful. Who wouldn't want to just hang out there? It's in 3D. It's coming at you. You feel like you're getting splashed by the ocean, but there's just not enough around that to make it to make me patient enough to sit through it for. And here I am having seen it twice, so I don't know the answer to your question. I guess I saw it because my family wanted to, and I'm a team player, and it's Christmas. I guess
You spent 6 hours of your life watching Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah, dude.
That's twice as much time as I think anyone should ever spend watching Avatar: The Way of Water.
Do you recommend people see this movie at all?
I do.
Okay,
That's
but
the
only
crazy
once.
thing.
Just one time.
You just got to see it once, and you got to see it in theaters, and you got to see it in IMAX. You don't got to see it in 3D. You really don't. The 3D is not adding anything the way it did the first time. That Avatar did. 3D.
What's the last movie that even screened in 3D? Can you think of one this year that was 3D? I know it's hard on the spot, but
I
can't either.
Top Gun didn't.
No.
You know? Top Gun knew it was going to exist just great on the merits of being a kick-ass action movie.
Yes.
And then it had all the other nice story stuff in between.
Yes.
You know, like this is a technical marvel. This is a technical masterpiece.
No question.
I think James Cameron's going to get probably a Best Director nomination at the Oscars. I think that this movie's going to clean up in the craft categories. But like, is it a movie that I would recommend that I think is like, it's weird to like say that I think a movie is groundbreaking, but also be like not down with the movie.
Yeah.
It feels weird for me to be doing this to myself.
It makes sense to me what you're saying. I think the movie, it might have, like maybe Minions. I'm looking at sort of like the box office charts. Like maybe I bet you Minions came out in 3D.
I bet
But
Minions
3D
came out in
feels
4D.
so
And you could, just like they do at the theme parks, you got your shaky chairs. They're gonna anytime the Minions blow raspberry, you're gonna feel little sprays of water in your face.
Just hot.
One of those farts you're gonna smell. Yeah,
bananas.
I guess they do eat a lot of bananas.
It's their thing. I'm glad you brought up Top Gun, because I think another aspect of going into Avatar is expectation and what you expect to see. And on one hand, it's a Christmas release blockbuster movie that is aimed it's just casting a huge net to get pretty much everybody in seats.
Yes. And
had Top Gun Maverick not come out this year, I think my perspective or the criteria or the standard that I'm holding this movie to would be different. I think it'd be lower. But Top Gun, I love Top Gun. I don't hate the first Top Gun. I don't want to use that word too much on the show.
But the first Top Gun is not good.
No, it's not good. And I didn't grow up with it.
I agree with you on that.
The new one is very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the new one is the best version of what that kind of movie can be. And by that kind of movie, I just mean like an entertainment driven, but emotionally, cohesive and perceptive movie.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise does a good job. I don't particularly like Tom Cruise, I don't think.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel like in that sort of vein, what we have here with Avatar, it's a world populated with like, obviously motion capture CGI characters, right? There's a level of, for me at least, like it's obvious that Top Gun Maverick can be seen as not only just like the best possible version of what a movie like Top Gun can be, but you have this, because we have like recognizable movie stars, you have this level of like, oh, is there a commentary happening here? We can read it that way. We can read it as like a commentary on aging, a commentary on like growing up and growing old and trying to reckon with the past. And I think that because even though like I know that it's Zoe Saldana, I know that it's Sam Worthington, I know that it's Sigourney Weaver, which is also like, it's on an uncanny valley level that I know that it's all of them.
Yes.
But I don't have that same recognizability. Do you find that might be like part of the reason?
There's a scene in Avatar: The Way of Water, and since we're not concerned about spoilers, this is towards the end. It's in the third act for sure. I should get a character name list. I might look, maybe I have it right here. There's one of his two sons, one of Jake Sully's two sons. Yep, it's it's either Loak. I don't know which one's which. It's the one that for the whole movie has been being protected by his older brother.
That's Loak.
Loak is the goofy one.
He's the goofy younger brother.
Doesn't listen to dad. Who's the older brother?
I'm trying to find the name of the older
so
brother.
Am I. There's so many characters listed here.
It's such a shame that they don't
Kate
just
Winslet's
have the
in
name
this?
of the older brother. Yeah, Kate Winslet is.
I know,
in
she's,
this movie for like no reason.
She's the wife of the water tribe people.
Yeah.
She's like the queen of that tribe.
She's the queen of the water tribe.
Yeah.
Why can't I find?
I can't either.
Neteyam.
Yeah, Neteyam. Neteyam's been shot,
Yes.
right? And there's this scene where to Zoe Saldana, I think it's Saldana, by the way. I learned this recently. It's got a.
Oh, it is. It's got
It's
an
got a-
N-A. It's
yeah,
got
an
Tilde.
N-A.
Zoe Saldana.
Anyways, when she's in pain or in turmoil or grieving in these two movies, she's just turned up to 11. She's screaming, sobbing.
Mhm.
No way to misinterpret it.
Yes.
Sam Worthington, God bless his heart. In that scene when his son dies, his face does not change at all.
No.
And I'm tempted to get to your point. Like, I don't know if it's the technology, because the human face and little micro facial expressions are hard to track, hard to capture on film, no matter what. Take away the fact that you've got even like a burning ship in the background, and then it's all CGI, and then you have blue suits and motion tracking. So I don't know, but it does take away some of the humanity, like as compared to something like Top Gun, where you have like the Val Kilmer stuff, and it's just a steady shot, like a mid shot of those two men looking in each other's eyes and hugging for a minute.
Yeah.
That 30 seconds in that movie had more emotional weight than this movie as a whole, I think.
You know what's crazy? Even in that Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise scene, more so than them hugging, there was more emotion in a static shot of words on a computer screen typed by Val Kilmer than there was in the majority of this movie. Like when I'll say this, when Neteyam died,
yeah,
I did not expect that. Legitimately.
No, I didn't either.
I thought this whole movie, I was like, the entire 3 hours, everything's going to be fine. Everyone's going to walk away from this.
Yes.
Clearly, Quaritch is going to survive. Everything's going to be. They got to set up for the other the other 3 movies in this franchise that have to come out. And I was legitimately surprised when Neteyam actually was shot and died. Because I was spending minutes just sitting in my chair going, "Hey, he's not going to die. He's
gonna be fine.
They're not going to kill him. He's going to be fine." They killed him. Good.
Yeah.
Good, surprising story move. Was I emotionally brought to a place by that? Absolutely not. I was as emotionless as Sam Worthington was in that scene.
Yeah, dude. I can't think, it might be Hitchcock that talks about this, but he talks about the difference between suspense and surprise. And he compares 2 types of scenes. One in which you're looking at 2 people sitting at a table, and out of nowhere, the table explodes. There's a bomb under the table. It blows up.
Oh, yeah.
Very surprising, very shocking. And then in another version of this movie or this scene, there's a close-up of the bomb under the table. And for the next 2 minutes, you have, as the audience, have to sit there knowing there's a bomb. Arguably a much more effective strategy to get your audience invested.
Absolutely.
And I agree. I was surprised that Neteyam was shot, but it just caught me off guard. And then I didn't feel invested in that character. And it didn't make a lot of sense story-wise either.
I think it is, and I said this jokingly, but seriously also, they did this thing. The only time that I actually did feel moved, and I did feel moved to a place at one point, it was all of the stuff that happened with the whale.
The whales.
I know it's not a whale. Let me look up what it's called.
Torcoon, I think.
The Tolkien, yes. And it's blackfish. It is what it is. It's like, oh, guess what? These things are sentient, and you're just killing them and drilling into their brains.
It's
and taking-
Okja. It's any number of like low hanging fruit for getting us all to sympathize with something.
Of course, yeah. The easiest way to get everybody to actually feel something is to hurt an animal.
Totally
Easy. No question about it.
You remember that Netflix documentary series, like "Don't Fuck with Cats" or
I
whatever?
hated that series.
Terrible to watch because it's a guy throwing kittens in a dryer or something.
Right. But not only that, there is also like at the very end, the thing that really I was like, okay, this is a good true crime. Like I get it. I remembered as like a teenager when that was all happening on the internet, and then when they were all like at the very end, like looking to the camera, being like, "You just participated. I can't believe you're part of the problem." I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!"
Yeah, come on, just trying to.
You're gonna scold me for watching anyway. I am glad at least that like Avatar 2 did not stoop to that level.
Sure.
But it came pretty close. It came pretty close to like looking at the audience and pointing and being like, hey, did you know that this is, we're doing this too? Did you know that?
Dude, by the way, and maybe I hate that this is going to have to be a defense of a lot of the plot holes in this movie. The Torkun, is it, how does it pronounce it? You saw it, right?
I think it's Tulkun. Tulkun is how it is apparently spelled on,
okay.
on
Well,
Wikipedia.
maybe it's going to come up in the third or fourth movie, but you know, like we go into one's dead mouth.
Why do we have to wait to find out?
And then they pull the gold goo right from their brain.
The
And
golden goo.
Jermaine Clement's like, oh, they've got the languages and the whatever.
I
his
can't believe,
New
by
Zealand
the way,
accent
they
is.
made him do an American accent. They didn't let him just do. We've got an
It's
Australian
so-
guy.
it's
Why not
half
let
the
him do his
reason to
New
cast
Zealand
him.
accent?
I don't know. But so they pull the gel out and guys like, $80 million right here. It stops human aging. I'm sure that's going to be part of the third and fourth movie. But there's so many of those little nuggets, like Kiri, Sigourney Weaver's mystery baby.
Yeah.
I think one of the most interesting partial Na'vi characters here, barely explored. And it's such a bummer. But there's so many things like this in the movie where I just feel like they've put their attention on the wrong things.
There's a lot in this movie. It's obvious to me that James Cameron is, like I said, this is a technical masterpiece, right? He's a very clearly exacting filmmaker. He puts in a lot of time and effort and really wants to craft a world and characters that take you to another place as an audience. But it seems like he's doing it at the cost of writing a story that actually feels new and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Because Avatar doesn't feel like that. I can't imagine anybody looking at the scripts for Avatar and not being able to extremely easily go, okay, this is from that kind of story. This is from that kind of story. I mean, people did it with the first Avatar. I'm sure it's happening again with Avatar: Way of Water.
Sure. Yeah. It's like, I haven't seen like the first Avatar, I think probably maybe once or twice since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But if I recall, the story beats are essentially native people. No, sorry. It's non-native people. And that's when we meet Jake Sully.
Right.
Invade a
The
planet.
sky people.
Take over the native population. They want to get resources of some kind.
Yeah.
Characters learn to, or one character learns to fall in love with the natives, appreciate it, and then they fight back, and by the end, they win, kind of.
Yes.
That's basically this movie with different natives, but like nothing's really different. Down to, like you mentioned, Quaritch, the bad guy, who, by the way, is like, his consciousness has been transferred into a body. That's some interesting sci-fi stuff that they just glaze over.
Yeah.
At the expense of like the 7 other blue military guys just going, "Oorah!"
Yeah.
I hate their dialogue so bad.
But
so
this is
bad.
This is a question that I have also. Is this movie just a movie to make the average film goer, the lowest common denominator, feel smart? Because there are plenty of movies that are like that. And I wonder if this is in that canon now.
I don't think smart's probably correct. I don't know how you could leave this movie feeling smart. Maybe entitled. I could see that being an adjective that would work. But I think smart's not right. There's no point in this movie that I think even the dumbest idiot would feel challenged. And I mean that in a bad way. Like everything is spoon-fed so
I mean that
easily.
with no kindness
I
in
mean
my
it
heart.
with so much disrespect. Like there's so much exposition. It's everything. It's every bit of dialogue in this movie. And it's so mind-blowing to me that he, stopped the studio and be like, I have to perfect my script. And he didn't even write this. He partially wrote the script. It was a 3-part job.
Yeah, this one he passed on to Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver.
That's right. And it's just, I don't know their pedigree of other films, but I'm sure if I use the word pedigree right there, but
You did.
you know what I mean? Okay, great.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I do think that's a great way of putting it. Not entitled, or not smart, but entitled. I think this is a movie to make. I say this a lot about Christopher Nolan movies, who, by the way, I love Christopher Nolan, but Christopher Nolan makes movies to make the dumb person feel sophisticated, to make a dumb person feel like they're actually engaging with a piece of art.
He's getting worse. Like they're getting harder. Like,
well, Tenet just had a horrible sound mix. That's really the only big problem with Tenet. Other than that, if you can watch it with a good sound mix, I love Tenet too. I saw it. I had a totally different experience watching Tenet for my friends who I saw it with. We saw it at a drive-in during COVID.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I, we saw it, and we could not. We had our sound set to where it was at the speakers right by our ears in the car. And we could understand everything. We're like, wow, this is a pretty fucking cool movie. Right. And our friends who we saw it with did not have that experience because they did not they did not change the sound displacement in their car.
Yeah. Anyway. It's a ballsy move. Just be like, this is how I want my movie to be made, and that's how you're going to listen to it. I don't care if you like it.
Yeah. You gotta, hey, listen, if Bong Joon-ho says you can put subtitles on and
it's a 1-inch barrier, baby.
Says, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, this is the thing. Critics are responding to this similarly to they did the way they did with the first Avatar.
Sure, it's the same movie.
Yeah, it's got a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Average on Metacritic is 67 out of 100. It got the exact same rating on CinemaScore from audiences. It got an A, as same as the first Avatar did.
Wait, we got to at least shout out Letterboxd, because I feel like if we're going to talk movie ratings, we got to at least give Letterboxd its moment in the sun.
Oh, yeah, Letterboxd.
I feel like that's, maybe if I think most people know, it's like a movie watching diary, basically.
I love Letterboxd.
I do too. It's just a different group of people that go to the extra miles, like get a social media account to log their movies. I'm not logged in on this computer for some reason, so maybe you could tell me how this movie's doing on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. So it's got a 3.8 on
Letterboxd. Out of 5 though, isn't it?
Out of 5.
I think it's out of 5. That's too high.
But see, that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at my activity from friends, right? And all of these people are saying 4 stars, 4.5 stars,
Man,
4
that's
stars.
Crazy to me. What?
The lowest review I see on here from somebody who I follow is 3.5 stars.
That's absurd.
even that 3.5 star. There's two ratings, and it's two people. It's 2 ratings that basically say like, yeah, this is technically incredible, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a storytelling perspective, but it's technically beautiful. And that's the thing that it seems like critics are looking at it and going, man, this is beautiful. Wow, this is so beautiful. This is incredible.
Yes,
I can't believe
it's gorgeous. He's going to do it even more beautiful in the third one.
Exactly. But that's the thing, is as much as the critics who are loving this movie are going, wow, how beautiful, they're also going, this story's pretty flimsy.
Yeah.
Do you remember how flimsy the story is?
I love it. Keep it the way it was. Yeah, dude. I've got somebody I follow who gave it 4 stars and a little clicky heart. And the way his review starts is, true to the original Avatar, this is basically another exercise in broad, clunky storytelling. Like, yeah, it is.
Yeah. On my Letterboxd, I gave this 4 stars and I did not like it.
Yeah.
That's how I left the movie. I was texting Ben about the movie. Mm-hmm. Shout out producer extraordinaire Ben.
Nice.
He saw it because I was like, I just saw this movie. How did you feel about it? And he was like, I cried. And I was like, wow.
Ben's dead to me. He cried at what, Ben? Does he ever listen to the show? I guess he does. He help?
He's going to listen to it. I'm probably going to get a text from him telling me what he cried at. But this is the thing. Yeah. Like, I can see how a reasonable human being, because this movie, if James Cameron knows how to do anything, it's manipulate an audience. And he certainly, but that's the thing. I felt the seams on the manipulation. Like, I saw the strings.
Yeah.
And I was not fooled in the way that I know that other people, based on reading their reviews, have been.
Right. Maybe entitled's not the right word either. Because I think, so you and I both see the smoke and mirrors with the whale hunting scene, right?
Yes.
But I think, how many movies do you see in a 6-month period, do you think? Do you see like a new movie, like not rewatch, like new movies that come out? How many do you see roughly?
I would estimate, we're talking 6 months.
Or like a month. I guess anybody can do the math.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to see if I can. I'd like to see like 2 movies a month because then I'm using my AMC Stubs membership to the fullest.
Nice.
And that means, like 12 movies in 6 months is I would say a pretty solid average of where I'm trying to be.
What do you think the number is for the average American casual moviegoer?
In 6 months, I think they might see 2 movies.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who this year have only seen Top Gun and this.
Yes.
I think the word, if it's not entitled, might be something more like self-righteous, maybe. Because they haven't seen any counterpoint to that. It's like, yeah, the exploitation of whales is horrible. Look at this, kill the invaders. And then, but we're all like, you're right. Like that is the perspective. Nobody's fighting that, but like we see what you're doing, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Cam. We see it.
I know what you're doing.
And I'm not okay with it. And it seems like maybe you're a little more okay with it than me.
Well, this is the thing. It's like this is the opinion I got to stand by, right? My review on Letterboxd is joking. It's about, hey, this is the greatest video game cutscene I've ever watched. Because that's how it felt.
That is how it felt.
But that's the thing. Like I felt that earnestly also. Like there's a level of watching this where this is a tangent of all tangents.
Go.
But I promise it's coming back around. So I watched a lot of Let's Play videos on YouTube.
I don't know what that means.
So Let's Plays are people who play video games and you just watch them play a video game.
You watch them and the game.
Yes.
You'll see them.
Yeah, you'll see them. They'll be like up in the corner.
I'm hip. I know what it is.
It's like streaming, but it's chopped up into different episodes based on whatever game it is.
Okay.
So I just watched a full playthrough of this video game called Until Dawn. Are you familiar with this game?
No.
Okay. So Until Dawn came out in like mid 2010s, I think like 2015, I want to say.
Okay.
It's a motion capture. It's very heavily motion capture based video game. It's basically like a 7 or 8 hour slasher horror movie that you're playing. Rami Malek is one of the characters in it. Hayden Panettiere is one of the characters in it. They're really going all like this is. By the way, this is Rami Malek pre-Oscars. I think post Mr. Robot.
Okay, sure. Just before the ascent.
Exactly. So he's like on the rise, and they got him probably. They paid him like most of their budget to have him be in this game.
Okay.
The motion capture in that is good. It's not James Cameron Avatar Way of Water level good, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And watching this, I literally just finished it maybe a couple of days ago before watching the movie.
Okay.
And I had a lot of flashbacks to like, where's the QuickTime event button here? Like what button do we need to press in order to like make the Na'vi jump to the right level of this sky forest? Which one is the one that's going to make them actually succeed in riding their mount in the water?
It would make a great video game.
It would make a great video game. That's the thing. I would love to see. No, I don't think we need any more movies of Avatar. I think we need like an MMORPG of Avatar. And if James Cameron could just divert his time to doing that, then great. That seems like a much better use of his energy and time to build out this universe instead of making a movie that just like you can praise all the technical aspects all you want, and you can talk about all the stuff that is like, okay, yeah, it's a simple story told like reasonably well enough, even though there are a lot of plot holes and there are a lot of problems.
I don't think it's told reasonably.
I don't think it's told reasonably well enough either. I think that there are all these people like I'm just reading all these reviews of people who are like, yeah, there's a lot of the storytelling's pretty great. Is like that's the first review I'm reading on Letterboxd. I'm like, this is not great storytelling.
It's terrible storytelling for a lot of reasons.
It's a classic story, but it's not great. Like
there's a difference. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good story can be told badly.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Exactly. No, but what I am very intrigued by, and this is I've been starting to do this lately. I have been talking on Google reviews and looking up people's really good reviews of bad movies, and I felt like flipping the script this episode.
Okay.
I want to see, letterboxed people, they're going to say 1-star jokey reviews, blah, 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 right?
Sure.
I want to see the really unhinged reviews of 1-star people on Google reviews of Avatar: The Way of Water.
You got a couple queued up?
Oh, we got a couple queued up. Of course we got a couple queued up. I'm just going to quote, there's a couple lines here from this one reviewer, Hetvi Shaw, who gave this 1-star. It's a really long review. I'm not going to get very far into it, but I do just want to read this. This line is great. I thought RRR and Avatar 2 comes down to be best movies of this year. RRR, are you familiar with RRR?
One of my top 5 of the year.
Okay. But such a letdown, Cameron. Frowning emoji. You better take classes from Rajamouli. Not a way of water, but the way of waste.
Have you seen RRR?
I have seen RRR.
Because that's a nice reference to the movie, because there's fire and water as counterpoints in that film.
Yes.
It's a character. I thought that was a nice line. That was great.
That's a nice line. The way of waste.
To close really quickly, to close your video game loop, I had just a brief thought. But earlier today, not recently, but within the past like 6 months, I got myself an Oculus Quest, which is a VR headset.
Great. I love the Oculus Quest. I got a VR.
That's what Avatar should be. I was playing Iron Man. I can fly around, shoot beams out of my hands. It's the coolest thing. And like I think what you're saying about trying to just instinctively, almost intuitively try to control these characters from just sitting in your movie. It would be such an immersive, incredible experience to be able to step into the crystal clear waters of Pandora. And I want to tie my little braid into whatever part of the animal goes in. I want to do that. And I want to ride the thing with the thing and dive in the water. It sounds amazing. I think it would be great interactive. I think video games get a pass on worse stories because you're interacting with them. Movies don't get that same latitude from me.
Yeah. I think there's a reason why we are seeing more developed storytelling in video games to the point where, we've got The Last of Us, one of the most acclaimed video game series of the past decade, is now being adapted into a television show. Mm-hmm. Insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another couple reviews.
Okay.
These people really are going really long, so I'm gonna hit a couple quick hits here. This one is from number one reviewer on Google Reviews.
That's their name?
That's their name.
Okay.
Watched it at 3 times speed and still almost fell asleep.
It's still a feature-length film, man.
If you're watching it at 3 times speed, this movie only becomes like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're not really missing a whole lot. Also, but here's the problem. The plot makes no sense. There's a lot of problem with this guy who's watching it on 3 times speed being like, I don't understand the plot of this movie.
But I guess if you're watching it for the visuals, you're just taking them in ad nauseum, just like Clockwork Orange style, just with the eyes. Yeah, man. Can we talk briefly about some of the plot stuff? Like, this movie's easily 3 sections. What was your favorite, if you had to divide the sections, best to worst?
Oh.
And maybe I think maybe so you and I are on the same page. It's sort of like start in the forest, invasion comes, Jake's always like, I can no longer do this. I got to protect my family. Then water portion. Then sort of the final whale hunt where they get on the ship.
Can I say that I wish that the movie was just the stuff in the middle and that I don't really give a shit about the beginning or the end?
Only if you want to agree with me. It's the coolest part. It's world building. The best stuff about this, besides the visuals, are the reason you should care about the visuals.
Uh-huh.
I love that. And you get to it's so fun. You get to meet the little seahorses. They're not seahorses. I don't know what to call them. But you get to meet new people. We didn't find out what
full name they had.
I don't know. I know one got shot and that made me sad.
I wish. I think here's the final Google review, and this is a bit of an epic. So feel free to chime in wherever you like.
Oh, okay.
This is from Ernesto Lazcano. Gives it 1 star on Google.
All right.
Let me start off with the setting.
It's a story. Okay. All right.
My wife and I go with a friend to do late night Christmas shopping and see the 3D session for Avatar, and thought, let's do it. How naive we were. We started the movie at 9:50 p.m. and we're enjoying the opening scenes. A lot of callbacks to the first Avatar, but a real disappointment when characters that died previously were just alive now, I guess.
Sure.
It really removes the stakes, in my opinion. You're not wrong there, Ernesto.
Yeah.
They They then had to leave the jungle for plot purposes, as it makes no sense that in the first movie they were bound on getting resources and uprooting a tree, and now all they care about is killing one dude.
Yep. Yeah, because that was the whole thing. When we're introduced to Quaritch again, he's basically like, we're going back to Pandora. We're, because I think their whole thing is they're like military people or convicts that are getting sort of a shot at redemption by going and like serving their country.
They're like SEAL Team 6. If like they actually looked like SEALs.
Correct. That might be the line of the show. Yeah. And then basically one's like, like literally like lifting a dumbbell on the plane. Like, hey boss, we got a mission yet? And then Quaritch is like, we're going to go back to Pandora and find this guy that ruined my fucking body named Jake Sully. And everyone's like, hoorah, let's get him. And that's it. And at least in the first one, it made sense. You're like, yes, like the moral lesson we're learning is that invaders trying to take the resources of native people, not cool. Now they're just like mindless meat bags that are coming to get him, I guess.
Trying to make him a cardboard cutout supervillain. And actually, and this is perfect transition because we also have the same problem as Ernesto.
Sure.
That's when our friend pointed out that the movie ends at 1:26 a.m. and it was only 11:45. Boy, did it only get worse. One character has a full-on seizure, and when the scientists come to help, they just say, "Get out, you have done nothing," and proceed to put a toothpick on the seizured character and start blowing raspberries into the air. The overarching screw colonization and American hate with the ooh-rah villains was one of the funniest things I have ever seen. I haven't seen a cowboy military cartoon villain since I was a kid, and putting 2,000 sunglasses on an avatar just cracked me up.
It was great.
That was incredible. How has nobody talked about the fact that they gave Oakley's?
I don't know.
To the avatar.
Do you just think like a little sponsorship plug right there? They're like, all right, we'll give you a little money for your little movie, but you got to wear Oakley's in it.
Why you got the avatars dressing like Guy Fieri? Come on,
it's bad, dude.
Yeah,
it's all bad.
The movie drags you kicking and screaming for the next 2 hours, and how we're able to maintain any focus on this hot garbage is beyond me. The ending. They hate the ending. First off, why take the marine biologist on a ship to fight the most dangerous man in Pandora without proper military support?
Wait, who is the marine biologist?
Those are Jermaine Clement and
that's right, those two guys.
And the other guy, the Australian guy,
douchebag, yeah,
who gets his arm ripped off. Look at that.
And gets to keep his accent.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? I get what you're doing there. That's a callback to having the whale's arm ripped off.
That was nice. That was fun.
Secondly, I had no feeling for any of the characters, and even if they die, what does it matter if they can just make them again, I guess?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Thirdly, this is where I think we're starting to differ a little bit from his opinions here. Zoe Saldana screaming for a majority of her screen time had absolutely no impact apart from me wanting to tell her to shut up.
Oh, God.
It was so moving and impactful when the forest was bulldozered and burned in the first movie and she just lost it and screamed. But now it feels like if she just stubbed her toe, she would scream just as much.
It does feel like that. That's
a little hot around the collar there, Ernesto.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like I think that's how she has to play it because of the way these movies are. Like she has to go over the top, otherwise we're not going to know.
Yes. Fourthly, and this is I cannot disagree with this man further than this point. Who cares about the whale?
Okay.
The fact that this kid thinks the whale is worth more than his actual family is ridiculous. The movie starts with them hunting fish, but kill a whale? Oh, no, can't do that.
They have complex mathematics, dude. They have language systems. They have philosophy. They have gold gel. They're different than fish.
They are different than
Ernesto's
fish.
wrong on that point.
Ernesto's super wrong.
Ernesto's a sociopath. That's not right.
That is super right. But he did make a great point, which is do not spend $29 each to watch this hot garbage. I got to see this
$29? How much is the ticket in LA for this in 3D?
This movie is probably, I mean, I don't know. That's why I got that AMC Stubs, dog.
That's right.
But it's probably like $35. And then you got
$35 for a ticket?
That's my guess.
You know what?
I'm actually going to.
I can't tell if you're joking
right now. I'm not joking.
$35?
I'm going to look up how much it costs to see it at the place that I saw it. AMC City Walk. And let's just do a little research here. I'm looking this price up. How much did you spend to see this movie?
Well, it's nothing, but that's because I have a podcast also. But let me look what tickets cost. Because I'm up in Chico. I don't know if we said that or not.
Yes.
Which is not Chino for anybody in your area. It's farther. It's farther north than that.
Much farther.
So like, I'm going to look at my theater here, which is not a huge theater. Obviously our town is like 95,000 people. So let's see. Avatar: Way of Water is still playing. Obviously, tickets are gonna be. I think. Are you looking at the 3D tickets? By the way,
I'm looking at IMAX 3D. You betcha.
IMAX is the way to go. I guess that's probably going to be a little extra money, huh? But we don't even have an IMAX.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Also, it's Tuesday, which is Discount Tuesday here. But that's the price I'm going to use because that's when we're talking.
I can't look up. They don't have any more prices here, so I'm gonna look up for tomorrow. I'm gonna do the 8:30 p.m. showtime tomorrow. See
Okay.
how much it costs.
Do you want to take a guess on how much mine is, and you can inform your guess by how I reacted to the price you told me.
Oh my god, I can't purchase. I don't want to purchase it.
You have
It's
to.
trying to get me to
have to
actually
buy it
see the
again.
movie again.
Yeah, buy it again.
No, I refuse. All right, I'm gonna guess that yours costs $20.
It's Discount Tuesday. It's Discount Tuesday.
Discount Tuesday, $20.
$8.75.
For real?
For real.
In
Yeah.
3D?
Yeah.
IMAX?
You get to keep the glasses if you want. No one
God, y'all are
checks.
so spoiled.
I
up in
know.
Chico.
Yeah. I think they accept vegetables as payment too.
This
just got the
makes
wheel.
me feel the way I felt every time I go to Texas and go visit my family down there.
Are
The
the
movies are
tickets cheap in
so
Texas?
cheap down there.
You're in like the movie. You're in the movie business capital of the world. It
I
actually
know,
seems
and
like it should
they're
be cheaper there.
Really
some reason.
screwing us over for all these movie costs. All right,
Yes.
we're checking it again. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm not a member for all purposes. Okay, it's $25.75
For one ticket to a
for
movie.
one ticket to a movie.
Do you get anything with that?
No,
Do you have to
you
pay
get a
extra for the
smug
3D
sense of
glasses?
self-satisfaction for thinking you're a genius for understanding Avatar.
Are all movies that much, or just Avatar?
No. Just because Avatar, it's IMAX 3D.
What's like a normal ticket? Like 15?
Like 17.
Oh my lord!
I mean, this is the best part, and I'll cape for AMC all day. If you
All
get
right.
an AMC Stubs and you see 2 movies a month in LA, it pays for itself because it costs $25 a month, and you get 3 free movies a week. So it's like a no brainer. Hey, speaking of seeing other movies,
Sure. Yeah,
look
go.
at that. That's a smooth transition.
I love it. Let's hear
What do
it.
you think people should watch instead of Avatar: The
I
Way
have
of
so
Water?
many quick suggestions. You mentioned
Please.
RRR, which,
Yes.
if you don't know, is a Telugu language film from India, which actually didn't get released on Netflix in its original language, and the
Yeah,
creators
they
are mad
released
about
a
that.
Hindi dub
They did
version.
Hindi,
right?
they did English, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one other that I can't remember. But it's also on Disney Plus, and it's this great 3-hour epic.
Oh,
with-
I didn't know it was on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think so. It's in its original language, so I want to see that.
Whoa! Everybody should go watch that on
it's-
Disney Plus in the
Yes.
Telugu version.
It's very, very non-American sensibilities. It's so refreshing. It's just it's like action, it's comedy, there's music, there's singing numbers, there's choreographed dance. It's very Bollywood. It's terrific.
Some
That's
of the
probably
most insane action filmmaking I have ever seen.
just the craziest, like every single frame is just so, it's just such a singular vision of it's amazing. I can't recommend that enough. The Whale, obviously, we talked about that came out recently. It should still be in theaters. We are past the Christmas season, but I really liked Violent Night with.
I've heard Violent Night is a nice
David Harbour.
surprise. Yeah,
It is. I'm just skimming some movies. Oh, if you're in for a really bit of a bummer movie, but a really, really, really greatly made movie, All Quiet on the Western Front, also Netflix.
I gotta watch that. I keep
German.
hearing wonderful things. It's getting nominated for all sorts of stuff.
It's so good. It's just so sad. It's just a huge bummer. And then maybe lastly, a movie that came out in September is called Barbarian, which I think maybe you and I talked about.
We did talk about Barbarian.
Yeah.
I love
Barbarian's
Barbarian.
great. Has anybody come on the show and said they hated that movie? I
No,
can see that movie being very hateable.
they
to
have
some
not.
extent. Okay, well they shouldn't. Doesn't
They
belong.
shouldn't. It's a
It's
great
a great movie. Yeah.
I have had people come on and say the movie that I was going to recommend which is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I do think.
You don't like that
hopefully-
movie?
No, I love that movie.
Oh, okay.
I had somebody come on and talk about hating it, and I
Oh.
almost disowned that person.
Yeah.
But I came at them with compassion and care, as I've been taught to do doing this podcast.
I think this would be fun if you try to change people's minds.
I don't feel that's the thing. It's like I don't see the point in trying to change someone's mind, but I do think that there are some opinions that I'm just like, I just don't get it.
Yes.
Like that's how I felt talking to my buddy Jay Mandium about doing about Everything Ever All at Once, you know?
Yeah.
And like
it just doesn't.
it just doesn't add up. And like I talked to my parents yesterday and I was like, you guys should watch Avatar But you should also watch, at this point, I've suggested it to them and also been like, I don't know if you'll like it, but I think you should watch it, which is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And now I'm like, okay, you definitely got to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, I don't give a shit if you get offended by the fact that there's like a dildo fight scene.
And
Just deal with it. You're going to love it. It's a movie about love. And unfortunately, I can't say the same thing about Avatar: The Way of Water. Because what's this movie about?
Money, baby. Visuals, money.
It's about making sure. Yeah, it's about making sure that Disney doesn't go belly up for shelling out all of the money they possibly could to James Cameron, to giving him a blank check.
Yes, 100%.
But you know what?